Yeah, very cute. Topics like what? My baby's that's right. Um, entrepreneur. Yes, that was the one. This one was more relatable. Like they're all relatable. But this one I felt like I really want to talk about just because I feel like.
Okay. So let's go left. Remember, hit the button. Just make sure y'all enunciate and y'all two on the end. Just try not to lean back, okay?
Like it. I was already like.
Chill like that. Just enunciate, okay? Ready? Yes. Yeah. All right. Ready?
Hey y'all, it's Morgan with the Melanin Modern Day Woman podcast. Today we are having our episode, Mommy Mode. I have Sydney, Courtney, Sierra, and Vern with us today. This topic today, of course, touches to my heart. I'm a new mom all over again, and so definitely facing some challenges and definitely learning some new things about myself. So I thought it would be best to incorporate some moms as well and have a great discussion. So, if you guys want to kind of introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I am Sydney. I am the creator of the Motivated Mama and Motivated Mama podcast, and I have a 2-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter.
Hi, I'm Courtney. Some might know me as Raven Curls on Instagram. I am a mom to a 1-year-old. She just turned 1.
My name is Sierra. I am a mom of a 4-year-old daughter, and I have a small business selling online CBD to moms who struggle with anxiety. And yeah, that's me.
And I'm Vern. I am a mother to a 3-year-old little boy named Levi. I have like so many things I do, I guess. But I do TV and film on the side outside of my corporate day job, so that's pretty fun. Yeah.
And of course, I'm Morgan. I've got 2 kiddos. One's 10, one is 4 months. I'm a teacher, a baker, and yeah, I just do all the things. So, first topic, of course, stay-at-home mom versus working mom. I know that we never want to put moms in a box and tell them what's right, what's wrong for their household. But do you guys have any ideas of what could be considered the right thing? Like, are you guys stay-at-home moms? Do you guys work? How does that work for y'all?
I work from home, and my child's father is my boyfriend. His schedule is at night, and mine's at days, and during the day, and so it's like we don't have to go to daycare. He's not in school yet. And so I'm basically at home with my child all day. So you can kind of say that I'm a stay-at-home mom and a working mom. And then when he leaves for his night job, it's just me. But I'm used to it. It's not really, I think it's really helpful to have him there during the day when I work. I can't imagine not working though. I really love to have that. It's kind of like an escape. Like I like to have something that I can just drown myself into, and instead of just being a mom all day, every day. Like it's nice to just have that mental break, that separation. But I'm just speaking for myself. You know, I don't. Being a full-time mom, I respect those who are because it's a lot.
Well, my daughter's 4, so for the first 2 years of her life, I was in a middle space. Me and my fiance, we have a small business, a transportation company, and I was doing some things, but not a lot of things with the business, and I was at home all day. So I had my daughter, we were at home all day, every day together. As she hit that 2-year-old mark, I was like, you know what? It's about that time. I really did. I kind of went through like this really mental space that wasn't good. I felt a little overwhelmed. I was only focusing on her. I felt kind of like I'm not following my passions and dreams, doing a business that was initiated by my fiance. I just kind of came in and elevated it, and it became ours, but it wasn't mine. So at that point, I was like, I have to find something that's
before me, and that's when I started my CBE online company and other different projects too. Then I, put her in daycare, and she started off like maybe a couple days a week and a couple hours, and then after I got really comfortable because I thought I wouldn't be, she went 5 days a week, and she would go all day. And now she's in school. She's still like in pre-K. So I mean, I've had a different journey, different ebbs and flows of stay-at-home mom, kind of working, kind of not. So it's been fun, but now it's very good.
Yeah. Well, I'll go next. Technically, I do work. I've always worked, and I have like crazy hours. I will work from 5:15 p.m. anywhere from like 2 to 4:30 in the morning. Her dad is an entrepreneur, so he kind of makes his own hours, and he would keep her, of course, when I was at work. But for the past like 7 months, I've been off work. I got injured, had surgery, so I've kind of been a stay-at-home mom for, about 6, 7 months now, and it is a lot different. A lot different.
Do you like it better, worse?
I love being able to spend time with her and getting time that I normally wouldn't have, but full time, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. It's a lot.
Well, I consider myself a stay-at-home mom, so I've been home with my son since he was born, because I had him right at the beginning of the pandemic, so February 2020, so the world shut down anyway, so I quit my job, and I've been a stay-at-home mom for 2 years straight now. Before that, I worked completely full-time, which was easier because my daughter's 10, so she was in school the whole time, so it really wasn't, anything for me to do at home with her. So I worked full-time and she went to school. But being a stay-at-home mom is very tough, and you do get that where's my sense of self kind of thing going on, which now I've recently, for a few months now, I've been working with a nonprofit. It's just online. More so just make Facebook posts all day long, but it's something that kind of like pulls me away from like mommy mode, because I am in like constant mom mode. And my husband works overtime. Like he works 7 days a week, and he doesn't take an off day until I say you need a day off. So he's always gone. So it's pretty much me doing every single thing with the kids 24/7. So it's a lot.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a lot, right?
We'll be sitting here today.
Right.
No, because like when I had my daughter for the first 2 years, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I just had that luxury from like supporting my family and stuff like that, just being able to do that. And then when I went back to school, I had never worked. Like I had my daughter when I was like 18, so like I had never worked before. I didn't know what any type of effort of anything was. And then like I started working and I liked it. Like I was addicted. Like I had 3 jobs. Like I was like, I like to work. I like my own money. Like I was like, and I was doing like everything. I was waitressing. That was fun. And then like I was doing makeup. I was selling cell phones for Sprint. I don't know. Like I was just 5 jobs. And so like because my daughter's father lived in a different city, I had every other weekend to myself, and I had my summers to myself. So I never had to worry about doing and being on in those little spaces. So like I got to actually have a real college experience regardless of like the norm. And I got to work a lot. So like I was just saving my money and going to school and just doing my thing. I didn't really have like a real career job until I graduated and I started teaching. And that was a different type of work. Like it was different because the reporting to someone else and making a certain amount of money looked totally different. So I couldn't be affectionate and fun and all those things. And like when I was waitressing and stuff, like Erin could get dropped off at my job, and my bosses didn't care. She would go sit at a booth, color, do whatever. Like, no, I had to have my schedule like pinpoint, ready to go. And I was getting to school at 6:30 before the kids got there, and I was leaving until 6 o'clock. And I was having to ask for a lot of help all the time because I was so devoted into my career. And then I realized I didn't feel like a mom anymore sometimes because I was so engrossed in like what I was doing. And I would feel bad, but I was like, but I'm making this money. And you know what I'm saying? I got me and my daughter off of Section 8. I wasn't living in student housing. You know what I'm saying? I had bought me a brand new Buick. I was like, I'm doing this shit. Like my daughter's taken care of. Like this is what I've been working for 5, 6 years to do. But then it comes with the guilt, it comes with the like, I don't get to see you all the time. I'm always asking for a babysitter. My mama's in the back of my head, like, well, you need to go find a boyfriend and get married at this point because you can't just work and not be with your kid. And I would feel so guilty. And so like eventually I started like trying to find different ways, but then my work suffered, right? But like I had, even now, like now that I have two, work, cakes, trying to be in a relationship, take care of household. Like even before today, I woke everybody up and I was like, we're all cleaning, everyone's cleaning. I don't care because I can't do it all anymore. But like you said, that extra support, like I went 10 years without support, and then now my boyfriend comes in and he's like, what do you need? I'm like, huh? I don't even know how to answer that question. Like, what you mean? Like, stand there, you look good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what asking help looks like. So, I don't know if I would want to be a stay-at-home mom. I've asked that because now that my workload is the same and I have two children, I've definitely said eventually I want to give up something. I don't want to give up the cakes. So I don't want to give up the kids. So teaching is probably just draw one. But I commend stay-at-home moms because y'all be cleaning the house, cooking food, looking cute, working out, teaching. Right.
Yeah.
Like, here, baby, do this. So yeah, like, do y'all feel like the expectations though for y'all to perform are really high?
Oh my God. As a stay-at-home mom, yes. And it's annoying at a point because people expect you to be like superwoman, but then you don't get credit for being superwoman. It's like, I've gotten the comments like, you can't be busy, stay at home all day. Or you shouldn't want anything because you stay at home all day. Or what does your husband allow? And it's like, dude, no. And I'm the stay-at-home mom who's just now realizing, like, I hate doing dishes. I hate doing laundry. I hate cleaning up this house. It does not bring me joy. It actually irritates me. And now I'm mad majority of the day because the mess is here and I'm the one expected to do every single thing. So recently, I hired a cleaning lady, and recently I hired a laundry lady, and I'm like, forget it. Why do I have to do the stuff that I hate? Which people, I've gotten a comment of somebody saying, I just couldn't imagine being that lazy. But it's just like, where do I draw the line for myself? Like, do I be a depressed stay-at-home mom? Because it's millions of us out here who are literally depressed every day because you're stuck with everybody's load, and there is no 30-minute break. There is no bathroom break. There is no, off day. Like, you're on 24/7. No, I'm gonna do what's gonna keep me sane. If that means Betty Sue gotta do this laundry for $80, that's just what it's gonna be because I can't handle it at this point. And I want my family to value me and actually enjoy my presence versus my husband coming home and being like, stay away from her.
Yes, like that room to be angry sometimes, like, and I've had to sit down and explain that to everybody in my house because, especially Aaron, she's like, Mom, why are you yelling? I'm like, let's break it down like this, okay? If somebody had 3 hours of sleep, came home from work, washed these damn dishes, picked up after your stuff, because you won't pick it up, and then you gotta feel this all day. Like, how would you treat people? And so, like, I think the expectation for us to be happy, or like you say, he's like, I don't want that shit. Like, why do we have to be scrubbing dishes, singing, birds all over the, like, that's not realistic. Like, I wish that expectation would go away.
You really have to separate time for yourself and from home, like, and I've learned that because I went through postpartum. I desired so deeply to have a child because of my infertility issues, and I got pregnant, And then I lost my mother during my pregnancy, and I had my baby, and I hit postpartum. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? I did not want to do this. I don't want to do this. I have to tend to this child all day, every day. I don't get to do the things that I used to love. Like, it immediately just made me depressed. It was a reality check. I didn't explain why I wanted to hurt my kid or anything, but I knew quickly that I had to figure out, okay, how can I balance my life? How can I still have my sense of self and identity and have the fun that I had before I had a child, and also be a good mother? And I had to do that. So me going to Nashville, me going out, me hanging with my girlfriend is what I have to do in order to be a happy girlfriend, to be my boyfriend, to be a happy mother for my child, to be, a great sister and a great friend. I have to do this for me. I'm not trying to be selfish. I had to learn what's not selfish and kind of eliminate that guilt, because at first it was, he would come home and he would not know what he would get from me, because I would just be so irritable, so unhappy, even though I had everything that I wanted. I just couldn't live like that. It was literally black and white. I was just living to exist and just doing what I needed to get out the next day. So I really had to just stop and, and figure it out. And I would like went to therapy, and she was just telling me how you gotta find that balance. And that's what I did, and it feels so much better. And I gotta stop feeling, I still sometimes feel guilty when I'm like, okay, well, I gotta go around. And I'm like, oh, I left him with my son. I shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, but I have to do this for me. I have to, stop being guilty. I work hard. I work my ass off. I work 2 jobs. I do what I need to do at home, so I'm deserving of the fun that I get to have outside of home. So that's where I'm at. And it's like, you have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Or else it's just gonna be a shitty household.
Right. And you won't be a good mom. You cannot be a good mom if you're not good within yourself. And I definitely had to learn that too. Because I also had people, not just in myself, but on the outside, feel like, oh, what's wrong with you? You got a man in the shade. Basically, you got a man that loves you.
Yes,
you got
just be happy he's ready to be there.
That got your own business. Why? Girl, you good. You happy. Why aren't you happy? What couldn't be happy about your life?
What's wrong with you?
Right.
It's a big change.
Yeah. It changed everything for
As
me.
much as people say, oh, no, it changed your life dramatically.
Yeah.
It's like you can't get up and go and do the thing that you wanted that you did literally a couple months prior. Like it's a change, and you have to adapt. And with change comes like resistance, and you got to learn to adapt. It's hard to adapt sometimes, and then you're like, long term, I'm stuck. Not saying I'm stuck, but I have to take care of this human being for the rest of my life. You're committing to something.
It's a bigger commitment than anything. Marriage is committed to, but your
You can
child.
always walk away from a marriage.
Right.
You can't walk away from that kid.
So that is also a fear. It's still sometimes fear is like, oh my God, I gotta take care of this person for the rest of my life. This is the biggest commitment I've ever made.
But not only that, like you have to make sure you walk a certain way, you talk a certain way,
Yeah.
you respond a certain way. Like think about how traumatized we are by like the little things that our parents did, right? And then you be like in your head like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. I can't make that mistake. Like we were just talking like simply as letting your child express themselves and feel comfortable is the difference between telling them not to wear an outfit or saying like, let's go try it out. The world loves you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those little things make a difference. And how do you hone in on that and like respond the right way when you are sleep deprived or when you are cranky or when you don't? Like, let's stop pretending like we want to be moms 24/7.
In reality, you don't. Like, you want to be yourself. You want to go and have fun. You always
Forget it.
You want to be the person you was before you had a kid. Like, I was like missing that person. I was so sad. Like, I miss who I was before I had a kid. I love my son dearly, but I miss who I was before I had a kid. I used to cry about that.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally depressed. Like, it was awful.
I think the biggest thing for me, the other day my boyfriend was like, we went out and he was like, oh my God, I missed you. And I was like, you with me? I was saying what you mean. And he was like, no, like hanging out with you the other day was like hanging out with you before the baby. Like when we first started kicking it, before we first, you know what I'm saying? All that other stuff. He literally told me, he was like, I've had to get to know you 3 different times since I found out you were pregnant. And I was like you see, I'm a crazy person. You know what I'm saying? But like, he was like, no. He was like, there was the you when you found out you were pregnant and you were trying to transition into life, because I didn't have fertility issues. So I didn't want anyone to know for a very long time because I was scared I was going to lose the baby. And then there was the me that was like really liberated and my bump was so cute and I was sitting in every outfit, you feel me? And then there was the me that was like, get this freaking thing out of my stomach. right? And when he got here, I was so protective. And then I went through postpartum, right? So I was screaming, and he's literally so little. So he's like, I'm reading all this stuff, but it does not say that you get to yell at me like this. And I was like, I'm trying not to. So now I finally feel like the old Morgan, like coming out a little bit, like, hey, where the mimosas?
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, what do y'all do though? Like, how do y'all get me? Do you feel like you're back? Like, no?
Yeah, and I don't have as many years in the mommy game as those at the table. My daughter's 4, and I still feel like, and especially because I live away from my family, so I didn't have a lot of those breaks where I could be like, oh, okay, enough to not for me to be able to find and feel myself. Like, oh, okay, I'm feeling up, I'm feeling like myself again. I didn't have enough of those moments before I got back home. So now I'm back in Louisville, and now I have my sisters with me, and I have a little more support to where I don't feel so much guilt to kind of say, somebody wants to know real quick, so I can go, you know, do something that's just outside of being a mom. And I feel like I'm not there yet. I still have a moment. I'm like, oh, I just want to, you know, do something. Even like this today, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna put some clothes on because, you know, just because I don't do that enough.
Right.
So yeah, I'm still there.
I don't know if I can truly say that I would ever feel like myself prior to having kids because I'm no longer that person. Right? I have a new title, I have a new identity. So am I at a good balance to where I also have the fun outside of motherhood? Yes. Like I found that balance because I'm like, I gotta accept that I'm not gonna be this person anymore. I had to grieve that old life. Like I literally grieved it. I'm like, but now I'm the acceptance. Like, okay, I'm not gonna be that person anymore. I don't have that life. I have a child who depends on me. So now I gotta find balance. So I think I'm at a good spot. And it's good because I have the support system that I have, which helps, and I'm so grateful for because without that, I don't know if I would be able to sustain that balance. But yeah, I'm in a good spot. I'm grateful for it. Took a while.
Yeah.
Courtney, what about you? Because you used to be on the scene like all the time, every event. Courtney's got the flyers outfit. She's ready to go. She's got her little bags ready. Like, what's that like?
I don't feel like you all said, I don't think I'll ever fully be that again. Like that life is gone. That's fine. But sometimes I just have to kind of let go, like of the control, because although like everyone around me is fully capable, like I have an issue with like believing my daughter. Like I always feel most comfortable when she's with me. So I'm okay, well if I want to go here, then that means I have to find a babysitter. But it's like, you know, it's just that like letting go of control because it's like, okay, well I feel most comfortable when she's with me. If I'm not an option, then that. Other than that, it's just like, okay, well she's gonna be all right. You know, if we're gone for overnight or for a few hours, but it's like when I do get those moments to actually go somewhere, go out or something, like I feel like that's when I snap back into my old self. I'm like, okay, what am I about to wear? Let me do my makeup.
Yeah.
Like, once I'm actually out, like I'm not one of those moms. Like I'm not constantly taking shit. Hey, like baby, I'll see you when I get back.
I'll look at my phone.
Yes, once I'm actually gone, like I'm great. I'm just like,
Just give you the
yes, yes.
No, I know that's so hard. How do you feel about it?
It's like what you said, like how I feel like I'm like currently right now, I'm like in this like evolving state where I'm coming to the realization that stuff that like you said, you kind of like grieved a life before. I don't necessarily grieve it. I'm just at this point where I'm like, I don't even enjoy half the stuff that I did enjoy before, but I've been a mom pretty much my whole freaking life. Like, I had my daughter when I was 19 years old, and I've been a mom and a wife the whole time. Like, immediately after I divorced my ex-husband, it was less than 6 months later that I was engaged again to my new husband. So I've always had like mom and wife, mom and wife, mom and wife. But I still have a sense of like self, like who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am as an individual, who I am as a person. I don't censor who I am to my kids. They know my mom is different. My mom is crazy. My mom cusses. My mom acted on food. My mom is just like this this quirky, like cool person, and that's just who she is. But it's just like a lot of stuff that I found, like when I try to go back and I have the time to do certain shit, I'm like, okay, I don't even do this shit. Like, like I don't even like this anymore, which I'm finding it's okay for me. Like I don't knock nobody. Like if you want to go out and have a good time, go out and have a good time because that's what brings you joy. Me, I'm just finding out like I like weird shit, man. Like I want to sit in nature. Like I want to sit and look at a fucking tree. Like it's silence. Like I want to. Like I'm dying to move to my land because we purchased land. I'm like I'm dying to move there. Like dude, we could buy an RV tomorrow and all of us be stuck in the damn RV to live in the middle of nowhere. Like that's just like I desire more like quiet and self. Like I don't really care to do shit at all because I guess because my life is just constant on that it's like when I get my free time I'm like do shit. Like me and my husband will literally say we're going to do some shit and come back home and like fucking stay and take a nap. Like all I want to do is like let's order some shit and just sit here and watch a movie and actually just enjoy quiet and togetherness versus anything else. And that's just like magical moments for me. It's just like being able to have quiet because I don't get that. Even myself, like I'm probably the loudest one in my house, like, but I just enjoy being quiet or being in nature or gardening, like just simple stuff. Like I'm learning, like I just like simple things. So I'm glad that I'm transitioning and I'm realizing like it's okay. I'm not a weirdo. Like I'm not boring. I'm not acting like I'm 80. Like this is just what I enjoy, and I'm glad that I'm evolving because I had my time where I acted the damn food and showed out. And I did the most. Like I was literally sneaking in my husband's window when I was 16 years old. So and like just thank God, 2 years later we're married now. But I've had my fun, but now I'm just like just enjoy simple. And that's all I need. So just learning that and learning how to get that simple time in. So if that means we gotta lie and pretend we doing some extravagant shit. So we can be like, after they going out, let's babysit. Then
I love that. Like my boyfriend every once in a while, I got your babysitter. Like I'd be like, what he like, what you gonna go do? I was like, nigga, I'm gonna go sleep. I'll call you when I'm done. Don't come over. I'll call you when I want to talk again. Like, I love those moments. Like even today, I'm excited because like the baby's going somewhere, Aaron's going somewhere, and I done cleaned the house already. I just want to go home and smell the bleach.
No, but I clean my house. He's gone. Let me clean my house. I just sit in the living room.
And burn the candle.
It feels good to be like, woo, some flowers, my house is clean. I got nothing to do. Just sit there.
Do y'all like super clean or do y'all have a schedule?
Sundays are typically days for me to clean, but like during the week, I like, touch up some stuff. Like Sundays are my super clean days. And depending on what I gotta do, I might do it on a Friday after I get off work, so I don't have to worry about it. Sundays, I can just chill. But typically Sundays.
Because I try to implement a schedule like Mondays are for dishes, Tuesdays are, that don't work.
It's a mess, I gotta get it. Or it might say, I'm going hot.
Yeah.
Them that laundry, them dry clothes will sit in that basket for a little bit.
You might have to wash it again. I am not a laundry person. If I don't fold it right, it's gonna sit there for a while.
I'm not a cleaning person. I'm like the definition of a stay-at-home. I'm like, I don't know none of this stuff. I get this. But I'm not a cleaning person. And like I would stress myself out about it because I don't like being in messiness, but I don't want to fill it up either. But I tidy because my son pulls out literally every single thing he could possibly find. So everything is out all the time. So I'll tidy, but lately, like my husband has told me, he was like, this is not a show house. Your family lives here. You have children in here. Fuck everybody else. Like, so what? If the toys is out, go to bed because it's not that serious. And so he's told me that, which probably was not a good thing. Now he'll come home and he'll be like, girl, it's been like a week. You ain't doing shit. I'm like,
like, if
So I just don't stress myself out about it no more. Like, I'm like, I'll tidy up, and if there's some dishes in the sink, then they'll get done. Like, I'm just not gonna stress myself out about it, though, because the kids don't care, nobody cares.
But do y'all think we're like that because of like what we saw? You know what I'm saying? Like my mom worked, so after my parents separated, my mom worked a full-time job. But like my house was a museum. Like the living room, you could not touch it, you could not go sit in it unless there were guests there. You had the den, and if you want to go sit and watch it and chill, you go to the den. You go to your rooms. My mom would literally send me and my little sister with my older sister, be gone, do what y'all need to do. We come back, we smell pine saw. Like my mom was literally, she was just that anal about it. And so I think I grew up thinking like my house had to be perfect and dinner had to, like I've never ate canned food as a kid. We didn't really eat fast food until probably like my junior year of high school. She cooked every single meal, every single Sunday.
mom?
No,
Oh, I missed that.
no, before. You know what I'm saying? But like I look at it, my mom's born in the 50s, right? And so she waited later to have me. And that expectation of like women taking care of their households was very much a thing. But I think about it, and me and my boyfriend have this conversation all the time too, like it's not realistic, right? And I think what happens is we are still expected to operate like traditional moms, yet we work modern day jobs, right? And you know what I'm saying? And so like I look at like the feminist movement, and like I've had this conversation so many times, but you look at the feminist movement, it wasn't for working class women.
No.
It wasn't. The women that wanted to work and wanted to have their own money were the women that were actually being taken care of. So now you look, you know what I'm saying, decades later, and we're working, but yet, like, men wasn't like, you know what, y'all go work, we'll stay at home.
Yeah.
No, they did not agree to that. They was like, we'll give you what you're asking for, but we still gotta keep the children. We still gotta do all the things. And it's just like, do you just let the house be dirty? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you just let your kid walk out with their hair not done and you be like, dang, like, you look like, hey, you look alright, though, like, you look alright, that's my baby. Like, what do you, like, how do you balance that? Because I think that for me, I still have a hard time letting go of the museum. Like, my house is always, you come over, you smell it, you look, and I don't know how to undo that. Like, I'll literally maybe go like a couple days, and I'm like, and that's why you're all dirty. I just go there, and I'm like, how do I let go of that? Because for you, it seems so easy. You was like, okay, good.
It was very difficult when me and my husband first got together because I grew up with both parents in my household, and it was very much a partnership. Everything I saw my mom do, I saw my dad do. So my mom might cook Monday, Wednesday, Friday. My dad cooks Tuesday, Thursday on the weekends. Like, I seen my dad clean. I seen my dad do laundry. And my mom did, you know, they literally split responsibilities and everybody did stuff. Yeah. So it was a shell shock to me when I got with my husband, and he grew up in a completely different type of household where it's like, he lived with his mom and his grandma, and the women made everything happen. And he had this expectation of men only do the hard stuff, like take out the trash and fix it, and you gotta do all this shit. And I'm like, hell no, like, what type of life you were raised in? Like, that's not okay, that's not normal. Like, I am not just because I'm a woman, I'm expected to know you should be doing laundry and all of this stuff. And, you know, I even talked to my dad about it, like, man, like, I can't believe, like, it was a culture shock to me because I didn't grow up like that at all. And it was weird, and I talked to my dad about it, and he was like, I didn't grow up like that. I'm just like a rare breed, apparently, because he's like, my mom did all the housework, and my dad did all the hard shit. He just turned out to be somebody different, just on a whim. But he's like, y'all have to find what works for y'all. So it was hard for me to let go, but even my husband had to learn. I'm like, you still have to help me. Even if you work full-time, overtime, you still have to help me. Like, this is a partnership at the end of the day, and we have to be able to work together. So sometimes he'll come in from work and knock out the sink full of dishes. Sometimes he won't do shit for weeks. But it's just like, when he laid down that and was like, you know, I'm not expecting you to be Molly May and it's perfect, and like anything that anybody has to say who's outside of our house, like, this is your house, you run it how you want, like, we just gotta do what works best for us. So I had to finally just be like, shit doesn't make me happy, so why am I stressing out about it? Like, I don't wanna do
I love how
this.
honest you
And
are
my
about
life
that.
is too short, like, life is really too short for me to be miserable every day over dishes.
Right.
One thing I ain't gonna do, I told my man before we met, I don't cook. My mama cook, and I was never in the kitchen watching. I don't cook. I do not enjoy cooking. It is a chore to me.
Sure.
He didn't cook prior, guess what? He took the responsibility, he cooked. It was a partnership in our house.
Good.
It was a partnership when I grew up, and he had a partnership when he grew up in his house. So it's out. When we have a partnership, he'll get up on a Saturday and clean. I'll be over like.
In the bed.
Like, he's very domestic, and I love it. Like, he'll cook, he'll do laundry, he might not fold it.
No,
Get
yeah.
it started, and in the dryer, I gotta fold it. He cleans, he cooks. I don't cook. Somebody gotta cook, or else you won't be eating. But you know, we just gotta be honest with ourselves. I do not enjoy cooking. And guess what? Sometimes I joke, I'm like, this one ain't got a ring yet. So I don't cook. You know, a man to a way to a man trying to cook something. I said, no, I ain't married, so I don't cook. No, I knew that before I got with you. But like, I really don't enjoy cooking. And a lot of men probably look at that as like, what if you don't cook? I cannot like her.
But there's a lot of things.
It's a lot of
You know
things.
what I'm saying? But then there's women that do cook and then their attitude's nasty.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying? They don't keep no house clean. And there's a difference between leaving a mess and just being dirty.
Yeah.
Like, because you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not saying it's listen to us. We're not saying that it's okay to be dirty. There's a difference. But like, I don't think that it should be cookie cutter. You know what I'm saying? Because like every man, like y'all said, every man don't require that. Like some men are literally okay with cooking for you or helping out. I think it's got to be a balance of having that conversation because what it sounds like y'all are very mature about having the conversation up front, but two, also like how to ask for help when it is too much for you. Like I think the biggest thing for me, nursing, right? I would hate it because I am going super mom mode. So I be cooking, got the baby on my boob, you know what I'm saying? Aaron do this. And I think it was so funny because I was frustrated. And Michael was like, I mean, if I was tying my shoe, I wouldn't expect nobody to help me. And I said, but like, listen to it though, right? And I was like, do you think breastfeeding is the equivalency of tying your shoe? His response was, babe, you really make it look that easy. And he wasn't being mean or nasty or anything. And the way I responded in that moment, I was like, okay, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But like when I look back and I look at the person he is, he was serious. Like he was actually like flattered at the fact that like you take care of this household and you don't blink an eye. Like it doesn't do anything like for you. You just do it. And that's the luxury that we have is you being in a household. And so I had to learn to ask. So like if you see me struggling, can you please bring me some water? Can you bring me my Clif bars? Can you warm up the little heating pads? Can you get the oil for me so I can, you know what I'm saying, massage them after I'm done? And so I had to learn to be mature about those conversations because I don't think the men in our lives really want to just be nasty and rude and be like, they don't.
They literally don't know.
Like they.
They don't know anything. If you don't tell them, they don't. And I hate to sound like sexist in that way, but it's like for real, true. Like you be like, damn, like why don't nobody have to tell me to do this? But it's like literally all of them. It's all of them. Like they literally, if you don't write it down and show them how, they will not do it. They just don't. But when you tell them, it's like no big deal. So we really just be in here pissed off and mad because we just expect them to get it like we do, and they just don't function that way. Like their brain aren't this.
Because we have that mama bear instinct, and if we know something's wrong, we're fixing it. Because if the roles were switched, you know what I'm saying, we would see them struggling, and we would already have the water right there. Like, here you go. Right? But like, and then we go into that mode of nobody wants to help me. Y'all want me to struggle. I might as well do this all by myself. Like, but in reality, they're not wired like we are. So it's just like because they're not, how do we help them take care of us? And it's not having the conversation in the moment. I have learned that. I don't do that no more. Okay, y'all, I don't do it anymore. But it's like, you know what I'm saying, casually, dinner, after you wash, like, babe, I really appreciate you washing the dishes. Now, next time, you know what I'm saying? But like, not in the moment. Because when you yell, they do not listen to you. Like, they don't hear nothing.
They shut down. Anybody will shut down.
They will stare at you so hard, like,
And they're like, why you yelling? Did you hear anything I said outside that?
No.
They
Or
don't.
they just yell back, and then now everybody just
Man.
mad, and now we don't even know why at this point. Like, now shit, you can just say some shit out loud. Like, it ain't even got nothing to do with the dishes. Like, it's all of you stuff.
So what are some mommy hacks? Like, how do y'all navigate things before they get there? You're not proactive, you gotta just do it in the moment.
Well, I try to think about how my day is gonna go. Like, I mean, that's intuitive. A lot of it's really intuitive of certain things that how you prepare for your day, especially if it's a day that you're doing a routine. So I wouldn't even call it a hack. I think women in general, we just have this instinct of like, you don't want to talk about guys, but we have this instinct. We just kind of know, or we try to prepare, for how our day is gonna go, what tomorrow's gonna look like if it's a day that's off of your schedule. So I don't know how many
Yeah, you literally have to just go with the flow. Because I learned that planning is not really a thing because with children, they're unpredictable. Life is unpredictable. Any plans you made, and anytime they go left, you get frustrated, you angry. I'm like, I don't plan. I mean, yeah, might have a birthday coming up, but or something like scheduled for the day, but I just really have to just go with the flow. And if we decide that, hey, he is not feeling it, I can't come to the birthday party. I'm sorry. I hope you understand. Like, I just have to learn to go with the flow. And people need to understand that as a mother with a toddler or a child in general, that it's not to be spiteful when I cancel plans on you or I can't show up. I really just, I have to do what's best for me.
Right.
And my mental.
And most moms should understand that because we all been in that space of having toddlers, and our day kind of goes around them. If they have a good day, then we have a good day. We can go visit, family or whatever. It's probably the hack. Like, don't stress yourself out. Don't try to pinpoint and plan everything to a T because something's gonna go left.
Absolutely.
And I feel like, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, I feel like some moms might function good off of that, because you see some moms who like have a calendar, and I have like a calendar with stuff, with engagements and stuff.
Right.
But like some people like literally like, I wake up at 6 a.m. and I do this and I do this and this and this. And it's like, that shit is stressful. Like, why do you even want, like, in my mind, I just feel like, I've tried to do that because when I was going into being a stay-at-home mom, it's like, you look at this stuff and you're like, okay, this is the right way. Like, this is how you're supposed to do things. And I'm like, dude, all this stuff that I'm thinking all the rules, like, literally stress me out the whole entire time. Like, none of that is even fun. Like, who wants to live their life that way? Like you said, like, I wake up and it's like, it's Wednesday story time, and we get up and we're ready for story time, we'll go to story time. And if not, we're chilling and watching Mickey Mouse, eating popcorn. Because some stuff just isn't worth stressing about. And it's like, if your kids are happy,
you gotta do what works.
Yeah, you just gotta do what works. So just like you said, just winging it, just getting up and being like, okay, we could possibly do this today.
Yeah, literally.
We'll see how this goes.
Exactly.
Let's
start o'clock, we're scheduled at 5.
I don't really feel like it now, so
Ease it out.
bring out the finger paint.
We really decide to do that. Like, I think that's just, I'm not a scheduled person. My anxiety doesn't allow me to be a scheduled person. So I don't have a routine. And people are like, let your child, he doesn't take a nap or he takes a late nap listening. Well, he goes down for a nap is when he's going to go down. I just have to let him down. It might be 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
But we're night out, so he might get up at 7 and be up till 1 o'clock. But guess what? We're up too. His dad works night shift. We're night out. It works for us. Some people are like, your child is up and it's 9 o'clock. And he is. And that's just what we do. It works. Because if you set expectations and try to do what other people do, it's just going to lead to disappointment and frustration. Oh, you're going to feel like you're the worst mother. Oh, my child's not in bed by 8. Oh my God, I'm the worst mother. Like you said, past 9. Like, no, it's what works for us.
And I think it's a cultural thing too, because I've worked in different scenarios and different scenes. And culturally, I feel like everything is not go with us. Like, it's not like, okay, little Billy goes to bed, takes his nap, and wakes up at this time. But I've noticed, like, when I'm with people of different nationalities, like, they be like, oh, do you want to hang out and go to the park? Okay, well, 11 o'clock, is he down or is he ready for his nap at that time? And I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna fall asleep or not. At 11 o'clock, most likely not. Because bro wakes up at like 9.
Exactly.
So he probably ain't gonna sleep till like 3:45, and that's on the way to get Addison to school. So that means when we get home,
He's up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there is no like, I know he can do this.
No,
And even with my oldest, like there's never been a nap time. Like, but some people like, and I think it's just a cultural thing because I'm like, I barely ever see that with us. Like I see it with other cultures where they be like, okay, I'm gonna stay at home mom and he eats his breakfast at this time, and I'm like, dude, like he eats this shit when he wakes up.
Yeah.
And I don't force him to wake up. Like I'm not gonna be like, wake up so we can be on schedule. Like, no, I'm gonna sleep as long as you will for my sanity. Like, why would I ever wake up?
I tried. And like, I would not let anybody pick up the baby at a certain time because I was like, no, he could not be dependent on people holding him. Like, I was like, and I'm feeding him at this time, and I'm pumping at this time, and you guys need to do this, and you guys need to do this. By week 3, I was like, pick that baby up. I couldn't do it anymore. And like, even now, sometimes my boyfriend is reluctant to do certain. You told us that we couldn't do none of this shit. And I was like, I don't come no more.
Right.
Like, I stopped caring about that. Like, but one thing, Sierra, you have the CBD stuff, right? And that helps with moms. Talk about that. I want to know about that.
Well, I'll give y'all like a little, like how I found it. Like I haven't always been in this cannabis board. I'm really new to it. Like I didn't smoke smoke weed a lot in middle school, and I did a little bit, in my 20s, experimenting. But for me, marijuana made me anxious, and I already kind of knew I was an anxious person. So I'm like, oh, that's not for me. Give me something to drink, when I was looking for my fun. But after I had my daughter, I got really anxious again, like how I used to be anxious. Because before that, I kind of learned how to manage it, how to, cope and go with it and try to figure it out. But I really wasn't doing a good job. But I was just, managing. After I had her, my anxiety went crazy. Like I had a panic attack, but I didn't know it was a panic attack because I'm like, no, I don't even know what that is. Like we don't even really know what that is in our culture, what it looks like, and I've never heard anybody talk about it. So for me, it was like, I'm sick. Why do I feel like my hands are shaking and they're sweating? I feel like I can't catch my breath, and I'm driving. I feel like I'm about to pass out when I'm sitting down. So why do I feel like this? I was like literally thought maybe I'm anemic. I'm coming up with all kinds of stuff. I went to the doctor's office and everything, and I was like, this is what happened to me. Check my blood, check my vitamins, check everything. I'm scared to death because it scared me half to death. And he was like, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing on your charts. You're fine. Like there is nothing wrong with you. Like as far as physically that they could catch in labs or whatever. And he was an older doctor, so he was like, you fine. Go on, get out of here. He didn't even know to offer me any advice of like, look into your mental health. Look into maybe you're anxious, you have anxiety. He didn't offer that at all. So me, I'm a Google person. I'm a solver. Let's solve this problem. I'm going to figure this out because I can't go and feel like that again. Now I'm terrified because I'm like, what was that? That was very real to me. That scared me. So I figured out and diagnosed myself. I have anxiety. After I go to the doctor or whatever, but I have anxiety. That's what it was. That's what this has always been. So I went back to him. I was like, hey, I figured out I have anxiety. Him being this, friend of a family kind of doctor, he had a practice and very knowledgeable, very good practice. He's like, well, I'll diagnose you with some anxiety pills. Take the pills, go on. So I started taking anxiety pills, and I would be fine when I was on them. But if I was about to run out, or if I was like getting low, or if I knew I had something big coming up, I was scared. I'm like, oh, they're not gonna work. Or what if I run out? I was still anxious. I'm like, this is not helping. What is causing me to be anxious? I need a little more than that. This ain't working. So I did more research, and I tried to find natural ways because I had already been in this space of like, I want to work on my body. I'm finding this new place of spirituality, and I was in a very formative time in that time, just learning, experiencing life, and I was like, okay, let me look at alternative methods to help my anxiety, and one of the things is CBD. So that's when it started. I was like, oh Lord, how's this gonna be? Because I don't want to be high nowhere. I don't want to be more anxious to sit. How's this gonna go? So I tried it. I tried dates first, and I was like, this is cool. And I was like, let me see what more, how much more, let me try other products. So I tried CBD oil, and that was like, oh wow, like, okay, this is good. I really feel like a weight's lifted. Like I feel it in a way that I had never felt before, and I didn't feel like, oh, what if I come down, or what
So it's
if
not like
I.
a high feeling?
No, and the CBD oil, it's like I had to take it a little while. Like it wasn't like, oh, I take it and oh, you're good. Once I took it for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, oh wow, like I'm at that point too. Like I'm trying to observe it too. I'm like, okay, how did I do last week? Trying to take notes. Like I really didn't get too anxious about anything. I was really cool. So I'm seeing like little like gains. Like, oh okay, let me see what more, because that's just my personality. Let me see what else I got. So I tried smoking the CBD like pre-rolls. Like it's
Right.
Those really work. I ain't even gonna hold you.
And
I
I'm
like weed smoke about
Yeah.
comments of these.
Yeah, and it's like it does give you a feeling. It does give you like an instant calm, an instant like, whew. And then after a while, I noticed like, hey, I smoked 2 times last week, and I smoked this week, and I'm probably gonna smoke next week. This is becoming a kind of lifestyle for me, and it's really helping me. I need to share this information or just to say something about it. I was already going through the time of like just feeling postpartum, like I was never diagnosed, but I was just overwhelmed in a way that I never had been before, so probably was. I never got diagnosed, but I felt way better. And I was like, oh, this is consistent for me. Like I can see things clearly. I'm not so heavy. Like the stress that I had of like, I'm just a mom. I don't have things for myself. What's my purpose here? Went through that whole phase of like, I just can't do this and this just be it. After that, I kind of got clear, like, hey, and not just CBD being my purpose, but just I can see more things clear. Like, okay, you stressing a lot about not nothing, but you're doing too much. Like you are blessed. You are good. Things will be clear for you. I could kind of talk myself out of those spirals that I would talk myself into a lot easier. And it just became a lifestyle. And then I started sharing it with my sisters, like, hey, I'll take CBD now. I smoke CBD, and I feel better than I've ever felt. So, and that's how I got started. Like, I was like, I gotta tell somebody about this. And then I learned about a girl who actually sells CBD online. I was like, I could do that. And I'm not, so much focused on the money and the profit, but I'm like, somebody could really benefit from this, especially mothers, because it's gonna help me out of this fog where I don't have everything figured out, but I can see a lot clearer. And then on those steps to get to where I want to be, I'm not so drained with the negativity. I don't feel depressed in that space. So that's how I got to that space with the CBD. And yeah, so I love it.
That's interesting because,
Yeah.
like, I know that a lot of times, especially when I had my son, they give you like a little test to take, and they're like, "Do you feel this? Do you want to harm a child? Do you want to do this?" And I checked everything other than I want to hit my kid. Like literally everything else, I was like, "I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this." And so my doctor was like, "Okay, so you didn't pass your screener." And I was like, okay, so she was like, well, I got this anxiety medicine and antidepressants that I'm going to give you. And I gave it to my sister, and it's totally cool, and you can still breastfeed with it. And I was like, wait, that's it? Like, you know what I'm saying? And she just writes my chart down and is off. And I'm like, no, like, I wanted you to talk to me. Like, that's why I was honest on my chart, was because I need help. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so you think about it, and everybody always discourages CBD or marijuana or whatever, but y'all give us value, y'all tell us to drink some wine, y'all encourage us to be alcoholics, you know what I'm saying? Then we're having these toxic relationships, then it's like that, like it's all these other negative things that they would rather us do. And like CBD, like I've smoked before I had my baby, and the only reason I haven't tried anything because I'm breastfeeding, but like I would much rather operate over here than digest all this man-made stuff. Like my junior year of college, I was on anxiety medicine. They didn't really ask me what I needed or what volume of anything I needed. They were just like, here you go. And I think I was like 22, 23 at the time. And yeah, I'm an adult, but that's still young. And it was just like, you could have told me that my mom got in a car crash and was like fighting for her life, and I looked at you and I was like, okay. That's how strong it was. And I didn't know, like, not to take it anymore, or how to tell my doctor, like, I don't want this. And I would communicate with my mom, like, that I was feeling this way, but my mom's so old school. She was just happy that she was getting a calm version of me, right? And she was just like, but you're so sweet now. You're such a lady, and you're just so, like, how I want you to be, right? And so I was like, but mommy, this isn't me. Like, I'm not me. And so I think I just abruptly stopped taking them. I was like, I ain't taking this shit no more. Like, she's like, that's dangerous. Yeah, but it's dangerous for me to operate like this. Like, and I think I just had to, like, really tap into my mental health. And doctors, that's the thing, doctors don't ask you about your mental health. They check your uterus, they make sure you done contracted after you had a baby. They make sure the baby's healthy, is he latching on, are you on formula? Nothing else. And it's interesting how through that whole process, because I think even as educated as I was during my pregnancy, they don't tell you nothing. Like, you go to these checkups, and I don't know, like, if that was anybody else's experience, but I would be like, babe, did you get anything out of that conversation? Like, that's just me. She didn't talk to us about it. He's like, nah, she didn't talk to us about nothing. And, like, I was having pains when I was pregnant. My stomach looked like I was having twins. Nobody caught anything. I had a fibroid the size this thing when I delivered my son. So, like, it's just interesting how, like, doctors, they're just like, they can be really surface with us. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Anxiety is nothing to play with. Like, people think it's minimal, or just like, oh, you're acting out, or you're sweating, or it'll pass, like, just have a glass of wine. But, like, that tears with your heart, your hair starts falling out, your vision can mess up, you're aggressive, that can ruin relationships, impacts how you treat your kids. Like, it's a real thing, you know?
It can be dangerous. Like, you can be somewhere, yeah, make a really bad mistake because your anti-child anxiety attack or anything. So it's important to check in on your mental health, and especially.
I will say my OBGYN, they don't really ask how we're doing, but my PCP is who I broke down to. She knew.
What's a PCP?
A primary care physician.
Okay.
So I actually was diagnosed with postpartum by my PCP because she caught it. Because she was a mother, she's a female, she had kids, and she was just like, how are you doing? And nobody asked me how I'm doing. I just broke down, just bawled and cried and told everything. She hugged me. She's like, it's okay. Talking to me about it, and she put me on the generic Zoloft.
Okay.
So she was just she's like, I won't keep you on for long. I'm gonna tell you how to wean yourself off of it when you're ready. She was teaching me ways to distract myself when I did get anxious, like turn your focus on something else, bring your focus on something else, count to 10 or look at shape, something. She was teaching me ways to deal with it so that one, that I'm not dependent on medicine. She wanted to treat me with the medicine right away because she knew I was in a very bad state as far as my mental health. But she was teaching me ways to just deal with it outside of it. Like working out, she'll ask me, are you still working out? You know, checking up on me, like, I really want you to continue to work out. That helps you, makes you feel better. She don't want me on the medicine.
Yeah. That's
So
how PCP.
She is really good about that. Like, I can appreciate that. But you would think that your OBGYN, somebody with you through the whole time. I don't know if your training would be more personal with you about that, especially a lot of them being women, but they just kind of, I think, you know, if you look at it like you're in a profession and you're doing something for so long and it's just repetitive, you can do what your eyes closed. So they're like seeing you doing, they're on autopilot, doing what they need to do to get you out next. They've been doing it for so long, so it's almost like they lose a passion for it. So we're like, they just do what they need to do to get you out, like.
Which is extremely dangerous.
Exactly.
Extremely dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, so, and I done had some very scary experiences just with, like, I had a miscarriage last year, and I had a miscarriage this year. I had a miscarriage last year, and I went to see my doctor because I had a bleeding for so long. Like, typically, they're like, they gave me the medicine to jump start it. They're like, do you want to wait? I'm like, no, we're gonna get it over with now. I don't want to wait until my body's ready to do what it needs to do. Just get it over with so I can start my healing process. So I'm taking this medicine, and I'm like, okay, I'm bleeding. And I'm like, hey, I need to come and see a doctor because I'm still bleeding. So they give me an ultrasound and see that I still have tissue in my cervix. My OBGYN, which I see all the doctors, but this one specifically was a nurse practitioner. She decides to put me in stirrups and pull the tissue out of him in the clinic, y'all, in the office, and I started hemorrhaging in the clinic. They had to call the ambulance. I was rushed over to Norman to get a DNC surgery. Like, I was bleeding. I lost so much blood. And you could tell that she knew she made a mistake, because why would you put me up in stirrups with no pain medicine and go into my cervix and pull tissue that stuck to the line of my uterus out? It was just like very traumatic.
I can't even imagine.
And I was talking to my boyfriend, and he was freaked out and he was scared to try again. He didn't want to try again. We did get pregnant last year. We was kind of like fairly lonely. He's like, I'm really afraid to try again because I don't want you to go through it.
Yeah.
Like, it was stuff like that to let you know that your doctors are really just not thinking about you. Like, why would you do that? Like, you know, it's just stuff like that. You like, it's like, can I find a doctor or OBGYN that is more personal and more connected to their patients, because a lot of them aren't. That I rely heavily on my PCP though. So like, I really think people should just really have a PCP, because they're the ones that know your health record from top to bottom. Even your OBG, like the births, anything that you have going on, they know it all, and they know more about you than your OBGYN. So it's really important to have a PCP. And I'm so grateful for her, because she has like saved my life, basically.
Well, yeah, because like I think in most cultures too, like when you look at pregnancy in most cultures, like your family, the moms and the grandmas and the aunties, they all come. And like, I think Black people, we kind of the only ones that was like, you got pregnant, okay, you're gonna take care of this baby, y'all good? Like, and it's scary sometimes, because this is why we need our village. Like, this is why we need our people to pour into us and talk to us, because it's like, they were pregnant before, those are the people that are gonna care the most about you. And I think I was kind of being passive aggressive, because I sent a post to my mom that was talking about like Indian culture specifically, like they really take care of the moms. Like the mother, she was talking about like the woman was pregnant, her parents came from India, sat with her, did all the things, and they took the baby to India for a year so he could be ingrained in the culture. And like, I was being passive aggressive because like my mom was kind of like, you got pregnant, okay, like Michael's there. And I'm like, but he's not a girl, like he don't know. And I would tell him stuff, but he's like, I don't know, babe, like I'll go look it up. But like, even when I was going to my doctor's visits, he doesn't know what I should be telling my doctors. He doesn't know what questions I should be asking. As supportive as our partners are, they're not women, right? And so then we have this whole system that's not set up for Black women to birth and stay alive and be taken care of. And like I said, I was going through so much pain. They should have caught that fibroid, as big as it was. They should have caught it. No one saw it, and if it did, they didn't say anything. And it was just like, that could have been a life or death situation, because I was pushing I wanted a vaginal birth. I wanted a vaginal birth so bad. And I just remember like my son was so late, and that was God like literally covering both of us, because had he came on time, anything could have happened. But it was like that 41 weeks. And I was just sitting there and I was just like, you know what? Like something told me, I had a whole calm over my body. We're gonna just have the C-section. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want it. But I was just like, just have the C-section. And where the fibroid was and where my son was, it was too close for comfort anyway. But it's just like, Dad, like we gotta go through the most dangerous part of life. And with people who aren't equipped, and maybe they are equipped, but when it comes to the level of negligence that happens with Black women and us.
Yeah, I know y'all have some crazy birth stories.
No, before I had birth, I would be at work, y'all, and I would lose my breath. Like, so you know, they take your labs in the beginning, take the levels, iron levels, all that, whatever you're on prenatal. So I'm like, I would sit at work or I'll be at home, and I really have trouble breathing. Like, I'll catch, I can't breathe, and I start freaking out. It almost felt like I was having a panic attack when I was, so I would go lay on the floor, put my legs up so the blood could rush up, and I'm calling my doctor, and I like me talk to the nurse, and nurse like, oh, you're fine, you know, just continue to drink a lot of water. You're fine. Right. So one day I literally was like, all right, I'm having one of those moments. I'm like, I'm 7 months pregnant. I'm like, I gotta get up and walk around, try to get some blood flowing, y'all, and everything started closing in, and I almost passed out. So they took me down to the clinic in my job, took my levels. My iron was so low, y'all, so low. And my doctor, the nurses did not touch it. Oh, we didn't expect you because you're on prenatals and your iron levels were good at the beginning of your pregnancy. At the beginning.
We 7 months in, sis.
At the beginning.
Yes.
My levels were so, I was like, what if I would have went in and had my C-section with these couple. I
Lost
would
all
have
this
died.
blood.
Yeah. And it's just like we have to do so much for people to like help. Like we're screaming for help, but nobody wants to help. We really have to go through the most as Black women to be taken seriously. And you know what I'm saying? Like it's scary. It's actually really
It's
scary.
dangerous. I mean, with the stats, we are dying more. We have worse not pregnancies, but deliveries because of negligence with Black women in the hospitals. It's so scary. I was scared. I was scared to have my baby. I was so scared to have the baby. Like I was scared to have her. I was almost like I didn't want to do it. I was ready for her to get out.
Yes.
I was ready for her to get out, but I was so scared for the delivery. I didn't know what to think. But I went through a birthing program. It was called Hypno Babies. And everybody around me was like, what are you doing? Because I was so scared. Like, even when I was early in my pregnancy, all I could really think about was being scared about having the baby. Because I was scared. Like, oh, the baby's going to come out. I don't know. I couldn't grasp it. I was scared about it. Terrified. Just terrified. So I went to a birthing class called Hypno Babies. And it was crazy positive. Like, I literally had my baby almost on my way to the hospital. And each birthing class that I went through, it basically helped me hypnotize myself to be able to go through the process. Like every class we went to, it was teaching me hypnosis on myself. Yeah. And
Let me be out of it, okay?
so I did most of my birth at home, and I was like, I feel fine. I got my headphones in. I'm sitting on my ball next to my bed, and everybody's calling me. I'm like, I feel something, but it just feels like cramps. You know, this can't be it. This can't be it, because it wasn't intense enough for me. It wasn't. My mind I figured out how my mind could trick my body into thinking, oh, this is nothing. Because I'm very sensitive to pain. I have one tattoo because that was enough for me. As soon as I feel a twinge of a headache, we're about to solve this problem. Like, I don't like pain. So everyone was like, well, you cramping. This is probably it. You big. You know, it's this time. It's 38, 39 weeks. This is probably the baby. And I'm like, no, I feel fine. I'm sitting on my ball on my bed. I went in Nashville to midwives. So I had a midwife who was helping me deliver the baby because I was just like, I want to do it natural. I'm going to try to do it natural. So, but when I called, they too, even after my fiance was giving them my numbers, but he was counting my contractions too. They were like, chill, just chill, stay at home, take a bath. And luckily, my mom was persistent, like, no, go to the hospital now. I don't care what she's talking about. Pull off that ball, talking to my fiance and his mom too. Everybody was like, no, I don't care what she's talking about. I don't care what she's on. Get her to the hospital. This is it. Like, this is the time. Get her to a hospital. And that was my plan. I did plan on having the baby at the hospital, but it was just through midwives and natural. So I get all the way there, almost there, and then it gets intense. So then I'm like, oh shoot, this is happening. I gotta reel myself in because now I feel it. Now I'm scared. Like, I don't know. I get there and I'm like, she's coming out. Like, she's coming out. And I walked through the hallway and they, of course, pulled me to the hospital room. Like, oh, let's get her out. She's here. So I screamed and hollered for about maybe 5 minutes and she was out. It was crazy that I didn't go through such a long labor, but it was dangerous in that when I called the midwife and my fiance was giving her those numbers, like how close I was, they should have said, no, get her to the hospital right now. They still were kind of in a space where they were like, oh, she's fine. You know what I'm saying? And it's dangerous for us. Like, I should have went to the hospital earlier. And with that person who really valued, not to say she didn't value my life, but, you think if you have more of us in that space, which I think, we need to be in that space a little more so that we can take our lives a little more seriously than the others do, let's be real. It would be so beneficial. Definitely,
I think that's very important. I think that's why culturally, we do need to get back to our roots because, you spoke of like Indian culture. That's normal for African culture.
Yeah.
But we're so far removed from it that we don't think about that. So we do really need to get back into our roots, which I learned a lot more of since I've been working with Play Cousins Collective because it's all Black. It's only Black people. It's only Black women. When a woman gets pregnant, literally the other women surround her and the other women come and celebrate her and the other women are there to help. And it's like, call you, like when I had a miscarriage last year, they're like, what do you need? Somebody ordered food to my house. Somebody dropped off tea to my house. They were like, what do you need us to keep the kids? You need us to come help clean. I work from home on this day, but I can work from home from your house so that way I can help. And it's like, it was a culture shock for me because I'm like, my own mama ain't came over here to do nothing. But it was like, these women are like devoted to their culture and they've gone back to their roots and they value that about being Black women, about having that African culture. So it's really important. I was glad because when I had my son, I went natural as well. And we got a doula. And she was like all about that. Like, she's like, no, like, I'm in this room with you. She's like, I can't tell him what to do, but I can tell you what to tell him to do. And she's like, when I'm signing off on shit, she's like, hold up, no, because this ain't necessary. And hold on, they hooking you up to this, but did you even tell them that it's okay to give you shit that you don't even need? Like, you know, she was in there like regulating, like, hold on. You need to make sure, you need to make sure, you need to make sure. Because, and then my husband, like, she got him on board, and he's like, hell no, she ain't down here today. Like, no, so much to the point where he's like, if we have another baby, I don't even need to do it, because my husband is like, fully, like, she even joked, she was like, I've never seen a father so upfront in a hospital room with his wife giving birth. Because he was like in my face the whole time, like, I don't remember hearing nobody else, or seeing nobody else. Like, I just remember my husband being like, come on, you got this. This is what we're gonna do. This is you need to move. What do you need to do? Like, what do you need to make you comfortable? And at one point I'm like, okay, the baby's coming, and they was being so nonchalant about it. And I'm like standing on the side of the bed laboring. I'm like, my body is literally pushing. They're like, it's not time to push it. I don't give a damn what you're saying. Like, my body's doing it on its own. You're working the hospital, you should know, like, I don't have to do nothing. Like, if my body wants it out, it's gonna get it out. And I'm like pushing, she's like, it's not even time yet. And I'm like, my husband's like, throw me up on the bed. It's like, no, it's time now. And I'm like, you know, pushing him, like you said, like 5 minutes later, he's out because y'all sitting here lollygagging the fuck around, making like, oh, it's nothing. Oh, she says she doesn't want anything. So fuck her. You know,
because they don't make no money off of you.
Yeah, so it's just like, okay, whatever. And even my mother-in-law got pissed because like immediately after I had them, they were like, okay, now get up and come over here. And she's like, hold the fuck up. Right. Like, she literally just pushed this baby out and y'all already trying to make her get up and go walk to the bathroom. Like, what the hell? And I almost passed out. And they were like, here, smell these alcohol wipes and all this shit to make me come back too. And she was like, she's not ready. Like, let her chill. Like, she's not ready for this. And then later on that night, they did it again after we were like settled in our room. And I passed out. I like blacked out in the middle of the floor. And my husband is like blooping the fuck out. Because the nurse is like screaming. She's like, I need help. And my husband's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? And she's like, we'll just wait with that. He's like, yeah, you should have fucking did that anyway. Like, but you need people who are gonna advocate for you and who are knowledgeable. And I value the fact that I've found a community of Black people who are positive, who are like, this is your time, this is your moment, we're here with you, we're gonna help you. Yeah, because it is a sacred thing. And it is something that we all are well deserving of. But like I said, we're so far removed from our culture, which is sad because I'm like, we're pretty much the only culture who's brought here against our will and had to leave every fucking thing else behind. But everybody else came and brought their shit with them. So we don't even know what is ours. We don't even know what actually came from us. We have white people telling us shit that we started, but we don't even know that. They're putting their, baby wearing. That shit ain't new. We've been doing this shit. Natural birthing. That shit ain't new. We've been doing this shit. Like, this is ours. It's ours, but we just have forgotten it.
Raise our kids.
Right. Woo! Raise your kids.
Right. So they like put this like hippy dippy, cute stamp on it, like it's something new and improved.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
not
not.
ours, and we've been doing it.
Make it real.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they'll offer it to us.
Exactly.
They have these beautiful, gorgeous birthing centers for them. It's not dedicated. It's not for you.
And I remember going to the hospital, and I was so big. And mind you, I never will be like, oh my God, because there was a baby they were checking in, 2 years old. And of course, me being a teacher, I'm so empathetic. I'm like, oh, the baby must be sick. But I'm like, no, because you came in here because you in labor. Like, I stood there for 30 minutes, pacing back and forth, pacing back and forth. Michael had dropped me off, parked the car, walked back in there. Like, literally they had checked the little girl in, and she looks at me, and she was like, okay, can I help you? I said, I'm in fucking labor. And I just remember her being like, well, do you want a wheelchair? No, I don't actually. Like, I was like, at this point, like, I can actually do this myself if you just will just give me a bed to lay in. And it was just like awkward because I was knowledgeable. I wrote my birthday plan as soon as I found out. Like, I was just like, I literally had a whole Google Drive dedicated to my birth. I shared it with all of my friends and family. I was like, if anything happens to me, if I black out, y'all know what I have signed, what I have agreed to. And it actually made them feel so uncomfortable that I was so like, and they were younger. And they were like, oh my God, she won't let us do anything. And I was like, I won't let you. And like, it was just so funny because it was honestly the best thing that my mom wasn't there because she's so old school. She would have been like, like, let them do what they need to do. And I'm like, do you not remember that with Aaron, I almost died? Like, do you not remember that they didn't know? Like, they told me what they were going to induce me, and I'm 18. I don't know what induce means. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, no, like, this time, I'm going to be in control. This time, my child's going to get here safely. This time, I'm going to make sure that we ain't in the same type of position. And when it came, like, it would just be little stuff. Like, they don't want you, I get it, they don't want you to fall asleep with the baby in your arm and all that other stuff. But I remember, like, just rocking him, and I closed my eyes, and I knew I was not asleep because I wasn't taking the medicine that was given me. And old girl came in there and tried to grab my baby. I said, like, oh. He was like, what? I'm like, she's trying to touch my child. Like, I was ready to go off, but it was just like, it was crazy because in such a vulnerable moment, you have to be so on and so alert and so protective. And they were amazed that I wasn't taking my my medicine after I had a C-section. They were like, why are you up off more? Because I can't trust y'all.
Like, I give us medicine and tell us not to fall asleep with the baby in our hands.
Yeah.
What? You give me medicine that makes me drowsy. That's why I can't keep my eyes open, so I need to feed my kid.
Yeah.
Like, and then if I drop my child, we got a CPS case. But it's really your fault.
It's really your fault. I ain't take none of that stuff. I was like, no, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be present. I was doing all the things that I could, and it was hard. It was so hard. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they could take that catheter out, get it out of me. As soon as you could do this, let me do it, because I just knew the trauma that I endured as a young girl. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a woman yet. I didn't know anything about anything, y'all. I promise you, I didn't know nothing. I didn't even know how I ended up pregnant. Didn't get it. So, like, for me now to be as aware as, you know what I'm saying, I am, I want that to be the experience of any other Black mother. That is my mission, my go-to life. Right. No, for real though, I need us to be present and aware of our mental space and be like, I didn't do the hypno thing, but I was reading on how to like control my mental space and control my mind. And then like we went home, Michael caught COVID, Big Michael. So then like he was gone for 10 days away from us. And it was so crazy because my body knew to tap in. So like, even though I couldn't walk for real, I couldn't get up, I literally took my dresser, I took everything out, I put all my nursing pad stuff in there, put my pump right there, had my schedule. I told Aaron, I need a peanut butter jelly sandwich at this time, I need water at this time, we're gonna go. Like, and he was like, how are you doing this? I was like, my body is doing it. Like, it just knows to like, do all the things. And then when his COVID was over, I was a damsel in distress. I was right back to like, right? But it's amazing that our bodies can like take care of us like that, you know? And the doctors were like, you know how to treat your cervix? Well, yeah. Like, they were really like kind of gross. They were like, I don't think you should do that. It's my body. Like, I actually know how to. And my friends was like, you know how to do that? I was like, why is that weird to you? I was like, why is it weird that I know how to check what's going on in my body? We're really conditioned. We're conditioned to believe that we shouldn't know what's going on with our bodies, and I think that's so crazy to me. Like, we should know what's going on. If you're feeling anything, you should be able to diagnose yourself. That should be a norm. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to know what herbs does this and what plants does this, and I should eat this and this goes away. Like, that should be common knowledge for any woman. Like, we can't trust. I'm sorry, I just can't trust that doctor, honestly.
Yeah, and my hairdresser, she's a holistic doctor, and I think I'm gonna get his doctor number. I'd rather do holistic, because like that's how I got pregnant. I did my research because I was actually about to go to the infertility clinic, but my OBGYN were giving me all these hormones and stuff. They were making my face break out, they were making me depressed, and I just was off. I was like, you know what? I can't fucking do this anymore. I don't. This is not fun. I don't want to have sex. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel. I'm not getting pregnant. Let me stop. I did my research. So I have PCOS, so I figured out like natural ways to approach this, and I found a natural herb that I read up on it, read reviews, and I took it, and I got pregnant in a month. Y'all.
Wow.
A month, just a month.
What's this herb?
Taking it out, cash free. So
Okay.
I took it, and I took it through my first trimester, and once my body was able to support itself with the placenta and everything, I stopped. Because the PCOS thing is like there's a hormone imbalance, and when you get pregnant, everything has to be perfect. Hormones have to be. So that was where I was like having a miscarriage. Like found out I'm pregnant, 2 days later I miscarried because my hormones were out. So that cash free, I was so shocked, but at the same time so traumatized from the miscarriages before that I couldn't really enjoy the first time. I was just like, I'm scared. I didn't want to move too fast. I didn't want to tell nobody. It's so traumatic, and it's still traumatic because I'm still having miscarriages. I wasn't taking my chastity. And I'm like, oh, I should have took my chastity, but I wasn't planning to get pregnant. But it's just like you can't enjoy it. Having miscarriage, you can't enjoy the first trimester. And then when you're getting your second trimester, it's like, all right, my baby, I'm good. And then you worry about something else.
Yeah.
I don't want the umbilical cord wrapped around the baby's neck. You hear about stillborn births. So I never really fully got to just enjoy my pregnancy because of the trauma that I went through. And another thing, kind of going off topic, but I think it's really important to also have people who talk more about what I call the fourth trimester, which is what you experience after the those few months, because a lot of women don't realize that they have postpartum when they're going through postpartum. They know they don't feel like themselves, so they don't get diagnosed. And not a lot of women talk about that because if you look at our culture, we never talk about mental issues. It was shown. It's like, you're not crazy.
Right.
People that,
Right.
like, you don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Whatever goes on inside the house is inside the house. And nobody, that we didn't go see therapists. If we did,
Why you telling me this? Why you telling me this?
Or she's crazy. Oh, she's crazy. She's on a medicine, or she has to die. Like, it was so looked upon. It was frowned upon. So it's like, now we need more people to be like, hey, it's okay if you're going through something after having a baby. You went through a lot to get here. Like, we need more people advocating that part, that fourth trimester. I like to go all about it.
Yeah.
Because it was a shock for me. It's like, why do you tell me about this?
Yes, like you don't know.
This was the hard part. My hair fell out. This was the hard part for me. This was harder than
Yeah, the afterbirth is always, I'm like, dude, and having your kids so far apart, I'm like, ooh, this shit is so much different than it was 10 years ago. Like, how the hell did I do this? Like, I'm thinking it's gonna be a walk in the park. Because my daughter, man, had epidural, just maybe out, no issues. I was like walking the next day. I was 19, I was fried. Nobody was right back. Him, I'm 28, had a baby, literally could not walk for 2 weeks. Like, I mean, not 2 weeks, like almost the whole 6 weeks, because I'm like, I've been toured in 2 different places naturally, so I felt all of that shit. And so, like, that's traumatizing. I can't move, I can't walk, I can't do anything. That snapback ain't snapping back. Like, you know, like, and then it's like, you know, the people be like, oh, you breastfeed, and look, you see the other moms take these pictures, like, 2 weeks postpartum, I'm already looking good, and then I'm like, God damn.
No, seriously, I deactivated my Instagram for a while. I couldn't do it. I couldn't look it up.
I'm still in maternity clothes 3 months after the baby, like, what the fuck is happening? And I'm just like depressed, and then nobody talks about breastfeeding depression.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, this should be talked about. And I think people are so afraid of like people not wanting to breastfeed because you're trying to promote breastfeeding, but then we're not talking about the depression that comes with breastfeeding. I'm like, I breastfed, and then my son exclusively fed. He wouldn't take a bottle. So that means he couldn't go nowhere. He couldn't go to nobody's house. If he went to somebody's house, we had a sitter, it's like, I know I gotta be back in 2 hours because he has to feed again. And that literally went on until he was 15 months. And I'm in the house crying 24/7 because I just want my body back at this point, and I can't. And my son is crazy attached to me. I can't go nowhere. I can't sleep alone. I don't get any sleep. Like, I'm literally insane at this point. and nobody gives a damn. Like, it's
Nobody cares.
talks
Or
about
they'll tell you, like, you can just put the baby on formula.
Yeah.
And, like, right
And he
now,
won't do that. Like, he's not just gonna.
it doesn't work like that. Like, I wish people would understand it's not that simple. Like, you have to try out different formulas. You have to figure out how your child's gonna respond to that formula. You gotta see if there's any allergies. And, like, there's time when I first went back to work, I came home that day, my son nursed for 2 hours. And I was like, did I run out of milk or something? Like, what's going on? No, he was scared that I was gonna leave him again, and he was like, you can't leave. And like, even the weekends, we spend most of the time in the bed because he likes to be nursing and likes to be near me. And then like that, it's usually every Monday or every Tuesday, I have to stay in the bed with him, or I have to do things with him, like right up under me, because he doesn't respond well. So I'm like, I can only imagine how traumatized he would be if I was just like, okay, here's some formula, I'm done, let's go, bye. Like, if, you know what I'm saying?
That simple at all, and it's like you're stuck in this place of, I know I need something for me because I'm losing my mind, but then it's like, what's best for my kid at the same time? It's like, I can't just stop because this is his norm. Like, this is what brings him comfort, and I can't be that selfish. So, I mean, luckily I had got pregnant, even though I miscarried, I got pregnant, and like, apparently my milk changed, and it was like disgusting to me. Like, he would like gag and be like, get away from me. And I didn't want it, so it's like, it kind of worked out. Like, he weaned himself, and he was like, I don't even want that shit. Right. And I mean, he went like straight to table food, so he was good. Like, it was a good transition, but it's like, I just got lucky. Like, if that didn't happen, brother would probably still fucking be right here nursing, because he was so attached, and that was just, when you with them from day one, doing it all day,
You're their
every
lifeline.
day, you're their lifeline.
Yeah.
But people, it's like, when they don't experience, no woman in my family breastfed.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I was surprised.
Yeah,
My mom was like, I gave you formula.
I didn't do it long, but
Yeah.
I wanted to do that for my child.
Yeah.
People were like, girl, you don't get that support when you cry. Like, I didn't get the support from the hospital because I ended up getting like mastitis and everything. And like, he wasn't latching right, and I'm like, I need help. Everyone's like, just put on formula. Like, the black people in your family, they don't know. So they're like, girl, just put on formula, it's okay. You like, but you need that support, because you're like, I want to do this for my kid, I need help. Then you go to these clinics, these
Lactation.
oh, you gotta make an appointment. Sis, look at my breasts. They're leaking and they're knotted up. I need help now. I don't have time to
For
make an
the appointment.
appointment.
Like, no, like, they was gonna keep
They
was gonna keep Bubby at the hospital because he wasn't gaining weight. Like, he was losing his weight. And so, of course, the golden rule is like 10% of their birth weight, and they keep them. And so we was at 9%. I said, Michael, we gonna break up this motherfucker. Like, I'm not sitting here. And so I just remember that morning, like, no, it was the night before when she told me, and it was the same nurse that tried to touch my baby. I wasn't feeling up anyway. But she was just like, yeah, we're at like 9%, so we're gonna like monitor you, and we'll come back in like 3 hours. And I was like, what? So I'm like Googling stuff. I see power pumping. So I got him on one boob. I got the pump on the other one, then we switching. Then I'm walking around. I got the massager going. I'm like, I'm taking my baby. Like, I'm just going. And like, luckily, that we woke up that morning, it was at 7%. And I said, thank you, God. And then lactation consultant, she came in. She said, baby, you know he's latched on wrong. I said, well, these fellas didn't know none of that. They did not tell me nothing. And she was just like, no. She said, it's okay. She was so cool. She closed the curtain. She was like, let's just dim the lights real quick. She was like, put the pillows up. And I was just like, why do we not?
Why wasn't she here the first day?
Like, where was you at, sis?
Like, why do they wait?
They wait 2
until-
days.
It's like they're setting you up for failure. Like, and I see so many mothers like, oh my God, I'm not producing. It's like, yeah, because you're not produce bottles of milk the first day.
It's literally that much.
Literally
I mean, I was
nothing.
like, if you didn't move
Like, it's literally nothing, and it takes like sometimes weeks.
It takes
Like,
weeks for it to
fully
really
come
work.
in.
But it's
like-
based on your child's needs. Like, I was just reading a thing today. Breastfeeding is on demand. Technically, you should not be able to pump and pump and pump and have bad stools. If you can, that's great because your body hasn't learned how to regulate. So take advantage of it when it first happens. But like eventually your body regulates and goes, oh, my child doesn't need this much milk. So it stops producing the extra and it gives your child what they need.
And I did not have that. Like so he wasn't latching right, and I was so engorged. I was pumping. I had so much milk I was pouring it out because I had no room in my freezer. Because I like to pump. So my body wasn't really getting the baby's needs. It was getting like, oh, she's not pumping. So I'm pumping all this milk, y'all. Like I had no support. It was very discouraging to the point where I was like, I'm done. I don't want to sit around and be on these pumps all day. My baby's not latching. Nobody's helping me. I quit. Like, we don't have that support. Like,
It's saying, yeah, let it go.
Yeah,
Like, keep worrying, or let's figure this out and see.
Nobody wants to help.
And that sucks. We have to do better as like a Black culture because even like with the breastfeeding, all your moms and aunties and cousins are quick to be like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
As soon as you say natural birth,
Why are you doing it?
I literally
You did that.
I literally didn't have my mom or any women in my life in the room with me because when you say things like, you ain't gonna be able to do that, I can see you now. I'm like, I don't fucking need that type of energy. Dude.
Right.
Like, and they were pissed, so pissed that nobody came to the hospital when I had a baby because they were mad. But I'm like, I got my doula who's back here like, yes, we doing this. This is how it's gonna work. Educating me.
Right.
She even has her own doula company now, which is dope, called Black Birth Justice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, and I'm like glad because I was like one of the last people who got to have a baby with her. But you know, I had her and I had my husband. I'm like, dude, I only can entertain people who are going to help me because you're scared as fuck. Like, I ain't never had no baby natural. Like, so I'm like, I'm scared as hell because I know this is not about to be a walk in the park. Like, I need support. And that's so discouraging. We do have to do better as Black women. It's like if a woman says this is her plan, why is it so hard to be like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Let me help you. Know,
Right.
even my husband was scared when I first said I want to go natural. He was like, are you sure? And my dude was like, look, you know, here's some videos, here's this, read this, do this, because you got to educate yourself so you can support your wife.
Right.
Like, and you need more of that, and we need that in our community. Like, we need to support each other.
Yes.
And especially when it's such a vital time in your life, and especially when it's your first child.
I was terrified.
It's so easy to get discouraged. Like you say, you have this like idea, like I want my baby to have, I want to make my baby's food. I want to do this. Oh, the time comes like, oh, I thought you was gonna make your baby's food. Like nobody supports you. It's like, oh, it's a joke. Like I want to do these things. Like, yeah, you saying this to me, I'm feeding up the baby, but it's possible though.
It's
possible.
Just because you didn't do it.
Yeah,
just
but
because
you were scared to do it, or
because
didn't
And then you get discouraged because like I don't have the help. Nobody takes it serious. So guess what? I'm just gonna go back to jar food.
Right.
Nobody wants to be there to help me. So it's
Then you start thinking to yourself, like, maybe
I am crazy. Maybe I was foolish.
Why did I even like go through like, and it sucks to say, it's like sometimes why did I go through with having another child? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like people really will make you feel like you done made a stupid decision on giving life. You know what I'm saying? And I've said countless times to my mom, I need help. Well, I mean, what's wrong, Morgan? What's wrong with you today? And I'm like, the baby's crying, Aaron's being a crazy person, the house is on fire, and I haven't cooked in 10 days. I need help. And it's just like, it's so weird how we've conditioned ourselves, like you said, to think that we're supposed to do it by ourselves, or to let the mama just go and do it the fast and easy way, or be like, well, that's why you need to sit down somewhere anyway, because you try to do too much, and you try to work.
Did nobody say you gonna have all the kids?
That's so discouraging. I hate that because one of the first things, I've had 5 miscarriages. And one of the the last things my mom said to me after the last miscarriages, I don't even know why you keep trying to do that. And it's just like, damn. Because I was
literally made.
I love being a mom.
Our bodies were made.
Doesn't mean like that. I hate it. Like I literally, as hard as motherhood is, and as much as I might be tired or worn out or stressed, my kids are my fucking life. Like,
I'm good at it.
I wouldn't change my life.
It's more beneficial than it is to anything. it's a more rewarding experience
Easily.
outside of everything that you go through. At the end of the
If I
day.
got activities, motherfuckers running around here, if that's what I'm supposed to have.
I'll stop at
that's-
that.
That's what you said.
I really enjoy my children and I want more children. I'm like, I always said I want at least like 4 kids, like a good 4.
And that's
And I'm like, even if I had one more, I'd be satisfied if that was my last one. But I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me because I want children. And it's like when your family is like, why you keep doing that? Like 2 ain't enough. I'm like, you ain't fucking helping. Like you ain't paying no bills, you ain't helping, you ain't doing nothing. But sending negative vibes, it's like literally. So you have to learn like when to step back, when to cut people off, when if people are telling you you can't, but you know that you're fully capable. Fuck them, like just do it, like, and I think that's like me. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna show you. Because I remember when I was 19 and like my mom's friends was like, you know that's gonna be your baby. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, fuck that shit. Like I had
I
my
can't
daughter
go nowhere.
24/7, and I'm like, no, this is my baby. Like this is my child, and she's always known. You ain't know accidentally call you granny mom or none of that shit. Like this is my child. I'm fully dedicated. And with my son, they told me I couldn't have him natural. I did. They told me I wouldn't be able to breastfeed that long. I breastfed until he stopped. You know, they told me, why would you make baby food? Fuck that. Because I don't know what's in this shit, but I know what's in my shit. So I made his baby food the whole entire time. I'm just like, no, I don't care what y'all say. I'm gonna prove all y'all wrong. Y'all just mad because you couldn't do it. You didn't have the idea. You was weak-minded.
We didn't have the resources.
Yeah.
And I think like it's crazy because I'm learning now the reason my mother treats me the way she treats me is because her mother treated her that way. And so, you know what I'm saying? My mom had my older sister at 19. So my sister was born in the 70s. Well, how was women getting treated in the 70s and having kids? Right? Don't call me for nothing. Don't ask me for nothing. This is your baby. You take care of it. So regardless of how responsible I was, regardless of how much I was working, regardless of, you know what I'm saying, me putting myself through school, graduating, having a full-time career, you know what I'm saying, getting my kids, making sure they're taken care of. My mom's like, okay, keep struggling. Like, and it's okay to her to let me struggle. Like, and it doesn't matter how we have the conversation or how I bring it to her. And I'm like, hey, mama, I really want you to listen to me. Like, because I think even at 29, I still have this weird fear of my mother that I'm like, I really need you to hear me, please, because I do, this is important. You know what I'm saying? I'm stuttering and I can't get it out and I'm nervous. But in reality, you know what I'm saying? Because she'll be like, well, you trying to make me feel bad because that's what them other mamas do. But in reality, I have the right to want my mama right next to me.
Yeah.
I have the right to want that support, whether I'm making $10 million or whether we still on Section 8. Like, I have that right to want my village. And I think that, you know what I'm saying, we've been so colonized to believe that unity is not the reality, but like we need to get back to that. Like, I feel like as much research as I've done, postpartum is a thing because of the lack of support. That is the root of postpartum. So let me be clear when I say most of these women dealing with postpartum don't got the support, and I don't care whose feelings it hurts. I don't care who feels some type of way. I don't care who says, oh, well, I was doing, you're not doing enough.
Yeah. I lost my mother. I didn't have that figure, and she that's all she wanted from me because she knew what I went through. She's like, oh, I cannot wait to get pregnant, and I told her on Mother's Day that I was pregnant. I'm not gonna cry. And she was so happy, and she was like, oh, now she called myself like, let's just throw a little small bit together with cupcakes and just celebrate her. And to not have her there when I gave birth was like the hardest thing because it's all she wanted. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna cry.
You can
That's all she wanted. So like that's probably a reason why I went through postpartum. And it's just like you really need that support. You really that mother figure in here, like having a mother figure next to you while you're going through, while you're becoming a mother is very important. And to not have that, it sucks.
And I feel like I wish more mothers like your mother or like my mom. It's like I wish they could hear like a story like yours to be like, you see, like you're here and refuse. Where there's like a mom out here who's like wanting that. And it's like it hurts. Like, it hurts for you because it's like you had that and you lost that, and that fucking sucks. Like, I couldn't even imagine. And then it like sucks when it's like, damn, I got you right here.
I'm looking at
and,
you.
and you literally refuse. Like, you just won't. But I think that's important too for us as parents. It's like, you have to change that fucking narrative.
Change that
You
cycle.
have to change that shit. Like,
Yeah.
I be damn. Like, I be damn. If my daughter got pregnant at 16, I be damn if I'm not right there sharing her stuff.
People like, no, I'm not
Like,
taking care of
like,
it.
no, I'm taking care of mine. Like, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna be a big. I'm gonna get on your damn nerves. I'm gonna be a
Did
big
baby,
shit.
did you?
Because you
But
know,
like,
you know
I
she's gonna
know
need that
what
help
she
because
needs.
you need that.
Exactly. And that was the part that confused me the most, right? Is like, because when I talked to my older sister, she actually told me, she was like, there was a lot of times that mama would call, and this was back before cell phones. So mama used to drive across town, go to nanny's house and be like, nanny, I gotta go to work. Or nanny, I need this. And my nanny would be like, no, I ain't doing it. Right? And I'm like, damn, you drove? You feel me? All I gotta do is text you or pick up the phone, but you drove across town, didn't have it anyway. And that's when my mama, you know what I'm saying, had her and my sister living in some apartment, you know what I'm saying, tiny little apartment, they sharing a room. You making that much of a sacrifice just to get told no, and you gonna do that to me? You know how that feels. You know that level of rejection. You know.
You need help. It's not until you know the person that you count on the most.
And it's crazy because my older sister's like, you the one mama's proud of the most. You the one that mama thinks is so dope and blah, blah, blah. I said, I can't tell. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy because despite I went and got my degree, despite I started a business, despite I moved me and my daughter out of Lexington. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just like, at this point, cool, I do it for myself. And I hate that I have that mentality because now that I have a partner who wants to do it with me, I still be like,
You struggle accepting. And that's a big thing for all of us because even with like my Play Cousins Village, they're like, we're here. But you're so used to not having, like, it's almost like you get comfortable in not having, so like, even when I know I'm fucked up, I still don't pick up the phone and call. It's like, I just deal with it. Because you're so used to just having to deal with it. So you just be like, I got it. Which is another reason why we do have to take advantage of those resources, because you have kids watching you. So regardless if you train them or tell them what they need to be doing, they're watching you. So if they see you struggling, they see that you never accept help when it's their time, they're gonna do the same shit. And that's when depression sets in. And that's when suicidal thoughts, you know, that all of that shit sets in, and you are leading your child down this destructive road all because they watched you do it, and they think, well, she can do it, I can handle it. Because my mama can handle it. So
we leave these boys to be entitled, and they have expectations, and they be like, well, my mama did everything. You know what I'm saying? We in relationships and we playing Molly the Maid for real, because that's
I had to lick that shit. I think that's why my mother-in-law was like, me now.
We good. This was good. Alright, you be like,
Nah, my husband tried it in the beginning. I said, I'm gonna who the hell? And I told him pick up the phone, so I said, ain't nothing sexy about a grown-ass man who needs to call his mama to make a damn doctor's appointment or anything like fuck that. I'm not wiping his ass. I got a child of my own. I'm a grown-ass woman. You can have his ass back. If this is what the fuck, the type of game y'all trying to play. I'm not for this shit. Like, I already got a kid at this point. Like, I'm recently divorced. I'm already like over shit. So I'm like, dude, I'm not entertaining this like mommy son weird ass bullshit.
no, you got one mother and I'm like,
Dude, grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
But then he like saw it and I was like, that's not sexy. Like,
It's not
that don't turn
healthy.
me on. Like, this is fucking weird as hell.
Right.
And then he got to the point where he was like finally like, okay, mom, stop. Like, stop. I gotta be a man. Like, I gotta grow
And that has to
up.
be their conversation they
But
have.
then she's like, pissing off fucking talking about it. Because it's like, well, damn, I can't tell them what to do. Because I'm like, no, like, that's not how life functions.
Build a relationship first.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Come to my house telling me what we gonna do, and you need to make sure I don't make sure he do what I got. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, he's an adult.
She can let go. Your son is
Yeah.
wrong.
I always pray I'll never be that mom.
You
know what I'm
But
saying?
you won't, because when you see that shit, you witness it, it always ask my grandma, I'm like, you know, all of her daughter-in-laws, and all of them are divorced, by the way, all of them have been divorced. But all of the daughter-in-laws all still hold this like great respect. But my grandmother, I'm like, what made you, you know, be such like a great mother-in-law? Because she has all boys. And she was like, I had the worst mother-in-law. She was like, I had the worst mother-in-law. She thought like she was self-controlling, she was doing all the shit, and I just promised, even though I got sons, I'm not in their business. Once they leave and they marry, that's their shit to deal with. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm not gonna come in and bombard your household, especially that of another woman. Like, I'm not gonna overstep boundaries. And it's like, it takes you having to have a mother-in-law.
I gotta experience.
You gotta experience the bullshit. And I thought about that, and I'm like, damn, my mother-in-law never had a mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Like, her husband's mom was already passed when they got to, she's never experienced a mother-in-law.
Or the
So-
love. And
Oh,
the
that,
connection.
yeah, so like, she's never done anything. She didn't come to my bridal shower. We had to convince her to come to the baby shower. Like, she's never had a relationship with me, so, but she doesn't get that because she's never had that, so.
But the good thing about it is because you seem very vocal and upfront and transparent with him, she sees you. She probably does see you, and it's more about probably about her intimidation with you because you're so comfortable in your skin, you know, and yeah.
I will say this, if you wasn't the right one, she would have tried to destroy that. Like, she would have destroyed it. You know what I'm saying?
She would have backed off.
She would have backed out. And that says a great testament to who you are as a woman, because at the end of the day, we love our babies, we want the best for them, but like, we know, we smart enough to know when they've made the right decision.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Right.
But
My baby, I done raised them this long, let her come in and take
a little
over.
bit, you know. But yes, I love this with you guys. So thankful that you guys were able to share your stories. So I always do this last little word of encouragement that you would have for any mom. You can just go around the table and you can share.
Okay, I say, I'll go by these two P's, be patient and be present. Those are the two important things you can do as a mother, and I'm telling you, it'll take you a long way. I had to learn that, to be patient, because children again are unpredictable, and life is not gonna be the same for you, and just be present, because it goes by so fast, and you don't wanna look up and regret anything that you missed in your child's life. So, but you got this, just hang.
I would say, I mean, that says a lot, being patient and present. I would say, try to find those moments of enjoyment, because we have talked about the struggles of being a mother, but it's been the greatest love of my life. Like, my daughter is the greatest love of my life. She has grown me up in ways and showed me my strength that I never could even imagine before. So try to enjoy and really feel those moments when you just feel that, just remembering and being present when you're thinking about your child, and then just also, you know, go easy on yourself. Like, don't beat yourself up. We all still need help. Even I know when I have my second child, I'm still gonna need help. I'm still gonna need support. So, you know, be easy on yourself, love yourself.
I would say to break generational curses. Because, I mean, mom and daddy don't know everything. Granny and granddaddy don't know everything. All they know is what worked for them. And you just have to break that, you know, oh, well, this is what we did. This is what you need to do, like, type of behavior, because it's not it.
I would just say be true to who you are. Motherhood doesn't look like one thing. There's not one type of mom. There is no rule to it. So fuck what everybody else has to say. As long as you loving your children, making them feel valued and loved, do what makes you happy at the same time. If that means you a funny cousin mama, be that funny cousin mama. Make your kids love it.
Right.
You know, if that means you like to go out and have a good time, go out and have a good time because you deserve to. You don't have to be this perfect cookie cutter of a parent. Just do what works best for you and your children unapologetically.
Yes. Oh, and you can never spoil your children. I just want y'all to know that. Like, love them, because they will remember the times when you refuse to love them more than the times that you have let them sleep in your bed and gave them too many snacks and all the things. Like whatever version of love that you have to offer for your children, give them that, love them, be that person, and be honest with who you are. So we are concluding our session of Mama Mode. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.